Let's start with the Punch newspapers this morning. PDP backs Obasanjo, Adeboye's fears over killings 2023 elections. And a host of writers here. Buhari got government overwhelmed. Nigerians no longer safe on roads. Train, airport, says ex-president. I'm not sure if 2023 elections will hold, says RCCG General Overseer. Lament Kudo theft. Obasanjo, Adeboye stating the obvious. Northwest governors organizing dubious amnesty. PDP is alleging.
Yeah, it was a weekend of reactions to the issues that dominated the last week in this country, and there was no bigger issue than that audacious attack on the passenger train in Kaduna. So you can see that it reverberated in the pulpit mostly. Friday, an imam at the Apple Legislative Quarters Mosque, Imam Khalid, and I listened to part of his sermon, and there's nothing he said there that is not on the minds of Nigerians. That he was suspended thereafter. Because he criticized the president in that sermon. But they say he was removed from his position not because of the criticism, but because his comments were trying to incite, according to Senator Mohammed Dansada, who I think is the chairman of the mosque committee, in the statement that announced his removal. But I listened to his sermon and he was saying exactly what most Nigerians are saying, about the state of insecurity in Nigeria, especially in the north. He tried to recall that in 2015, Nigerians were hopeful that a general has come to power and this insurgency in the northeast will end. But he was lamenting that it has now spread to the northwest and people are dying like fowls, in his own words. He was just specifically speaking to the truth of what the situation in the country is, especially after the bandit attack or the criminal terrorist attack on that train. So when I heard he was removed from his post, I was quite surprised, that it's not an attempt to silence free speech, But that was Friday. And then on Sunday, men of God also spoke through power from their various pulpits. First, it was the Redeemed Christian Church of God General Overseer, Adeboye, and he asked basic questions about not just security. He was surprised again about how insecurity has really
generated this point.
Yeah, but he was quite clear also on the state of the nation.
Yeah,
he was saying that the last election, June before the election, God has already told him that God hasn't told him now, so he's not sure if no election yet, unless God tells him. That's one. And I talked about crude oil theft. Again, reverberating the comments by Tony Lumelu that 90% of the nation's crude has been stolen. Adeboye was asking the question, steals them. And what countries buy stolen crude? How do they sell them? Basic questions. And then he said that this is happening in the country where 90% of the revenue of this country is being used to service loans. And as somebody have told him, an expert have told him that we are moving towards bankruptcy. Those were his words. And it wasn't just Adeboye. I heard Adeboye yesterday also have the pulpit, analyze the issues affecting Nigeria, generally about security. I saw a clip of the gentleman Paul Adefarasin also speak. So people are reacting to the state of the nation. You can't stop that. People have to react, again, because after these attacks, these chain attacks, we haven't seen any serious movement, on the part of government to say that never again, like maybe presidential visit to Kaduna, maybe a proper marching orders to the armed forces, maybe a few commanders losing their jobs, as we have seen. I mean, France sacked their head of national intelligence, their head of military intelligence, because he failed to predict the Russian-Ukrainian crisis.
Yeah.
They say, how can you fail to predict that kind of invasion? What are you doing? Your head of military intelligence, go. Even Zelensky, wartime president, is sacking generals because he does not trust their capacity. These are the questions people are asking. Can we continue? El-Rufai was blunt when he asked and said that we have actionable intelligence. The DSS briefs me on this action and it's here. Yeah, they don't do nothing. They just sit down, lame duck, and then these attacks happen. You think we will not ask those questions? People ask those questions across the board. So we suffer, like the Imam, if he will suffer. because they clamped down on him.
Yeah.
Nobody can clamp down on Gio Adeboye. Nobody can clamp down on Yedeko. You can't even clamp down Paula Farasi. So those ones will make their speech. If you attempt to clamp down on them, I think the reactions will even swallow whatever you're planning. So it's what's happening. And I know that in the days to come, it will be more difficult because free speech will suffer. That's why even those of us on radio here, we know that some people are baying for blood, so we have to be careful. And that's why I say every time we read messages here, maybe you take out those kind of language. I can put the radio station in trouble and put the presenter in trouble. All of us in trouble. But I'm not sure that they can stop people from reacting to what's happening. Obasanjo spoke yesterday to former President Obasanjo, and I see that Alhaji Lai Mohammed has quickly replied to Obasanjo. Obasanjo was saying that the government is overwhelmed, but Nigerians should not be overwhelmed because there's life after this government. Obasanjo has said it before that President Buhari is already tired. And there's nothing President Buhari will do new. He said with those comments in the past. The government also replied him. Yesterday, Lai Mohammed said not true that President Obasanjo's comments should be that the government is not overwhelmed, that the government has almost finished the crisis in the Northeast. They will do the same in the Northwest. And that President Obasanjo should be careful not to politicize security issues because it is likely to dampen the morale of the military. That is Lai Mohammed's defense in reply to Obasanjo. But Obasanjo spoke. He said the same thing that the clergymen on the pulpit have said, and mostly what even politicians in the Northwest, like Governor Nasir El-Rufai is saying. Nasir El-Rufai is saying that the way we are going, if we do not resolve this problem soon, I will be forced to contact mercenaries. Which of course I do not think has powers to do that. Nigeria is a sovereign country. The government will not, at this point, resort to using foreigners to fight our own battle. It's a matter of national pride, but people are dying. They are dying anyhow. And I've seen countries hire mercenaries before to fight their wars. If you go to Niger, Chad, those are our neighbors. Like the presidents have been coming here over the last weekend, Thursday, Friday. The Nigerian president, the Chadian president, all came to visit President Buhari. I think they came for briefing. They've been hiring mercenaries. The Wagner group, the famous Wagner group, they are fighting in Africa here. South African mercenaries are available, to hire to fight crisis like this. I don't think Nigeria will go that way, or if I will get his way. I doubt that because first, he's not commander-in-chief. That's just not for him to take. But it is a crisis that has clearly overwhelmed a lot of people. And the questions are being asked about the national security infrastructure again, architecture. Institutionally, does the armed forces have the will to end this? It's a question that the Chief of Defense Staff can answer, or the Minister of Defense, or the National Security Advisor, or the Service Chief, the IG of Police, DG of DSS. This is a question they should be able to answer at a meeting with the President. Do you have the will, institutional will, capacity to end this? Because in a country where in 1 week, criminal terrorists try to overrun the runway, and then in the next day, attacks a passenger train with almost 1,000 people on it, and that same day we're trying to derail. You just know that that's a national emergency. In Senate class, President Buhari should throw the big blanket on the Northwest now. Declare state of emergency and find a way to end this. I remember in the Obasanjo years, there was a time when there was one crisis in Ekiti. Before I got out of hand, President Buhari removed the governor. Obasanjo removed the governor, declared state of emergency, appointed Tunji Olurin. That was the end of that crisis.
Tunji Olurin,
So sometimes when it becomes desperate like this, you make frantic efforts. But I don't think President Buhari is in the mood to declare an emergency anywhere. He manages his own problems like this. Small.
The president is saying that.
You see that? The constitutionally has over a year to go. And he has to make that count.
Yeah. That's it. PDP politicians stole soldiers' salaries during tenure presidency. Page 7. That's where you get to read the story. And beneath that one, mercenaries call, avoid fire brigade approach, hire volunteers, hunters, says HCF. That's Arewa Consultative Forum, page 30.
I don't their voice to this one, Jacob. I don't think hunters can do this. I remember the ambush on hunters the other day, 60 of them. Were killed in one fell swoop. Hunters are not trained they're not military. They're just what they are. Vigilante service, because they know the area, so they can say if you follow this bush, you're likely to end in the forest. If you follow, you're likely to end in the river. So that's all they can do, support. But this work clearly now, it shows that it's hard military work. It's hard military work to end this terrorism we're seeing in the Northwest, this new one. Because there are large ungoverned spaces between the Kaduna-Niger state axis alone. The amount of forest in that place, and clearly intelligence has shown that there are camps. The military is hitting out at them, but again, the military will tell you collateral damage. These people use innocent Nigerians as human shields. Some of them, they live with these people in their communities. They take over villages and control them, impose taxation on them, and just live within them. So even when the Air Force look at these communities, find them on the radar, using their satellite imagery, they really cannot, because if you bomb everything out.
Yeah.
Because of the fear of that collateral damage, sometimes they are being careful. It is not an easy war. It's asymmetrical, as they say. It will take a good amount of intelligence to try to end this. And that's why we say intelligence is the first best weapon of the military in trying to end this. Intelligence, gather intelligence, infiltrate the place, isolate the terrorists, and take them out. It's hard work.
Let's read messages.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit the subscribe button for more. Leave a comment and like. Thank you.